right, welcome back to The Devil in Detail, the Grendel Reread podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Ben. This is episode 24. We're going to be covering the finale of 1989's Silverback, three-part miniseries by Kamiko.
VIVAT, Argent, Ben.
Yeah, man, this is cool. I'd never read this issue, and a lot of things that we are constantly talking about, Argent and Barry and his origins and his relationship to New York City, were elucidated in here for the first time.
Yeah, this really does fill in a lot of the holes that we always talk about, and it's kind of unfortunate that this is not going to see reprint because a lot of the questions we had that were brought up from Black, White, and Red, and another thing that's covered in this story is this story that we keep coming back to with the Barry Palumbo and the
double cross.
Yeah, the double cross, exactly. Yeah. And so we see the other side of that in this, and it's very cool.
It's cool. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
We're gonna spend the next 3 hours dissecting this one. What did you do this week, Eli? What was creative for you?
Another great week in work with Kayfabe Tober. It's super fun, man. I had a lot of fun drawing Octobriana for Jim Rugg. I drew Jim Rugg. He had his day this week. I drew him as like a cat man, a character that I kind of figured had existed. And of course,
learned of the real cat man.
Yeah. And there's two, actually. There's one you sent me, and then there's one Gregory Giordano sent that was like a Golden Age character. He's kind of a master of Golden Age.
Not me. I think it must have been another one of your comic scholar friends must have sent it to you.
Of that, we have many.
Yeah, I know that there's a Catman. I can't remember if he's a Marvel or DC character though.
I think like in my head, I was thinking of like the Badger a little bit, but then I
sure.
kind of created a full Batman ripoff. I guess I just wanted to draw a lot of cats. And
yeah, has the daily prompt thing been giving you gains? Because I know you don't always get to draw every day.
Yeah, it definitely has, and it's helped me carve out the time to do it every day and learn little things. And I mean, honestly, the one that like Will Eisner, that was like tough for me. I haven't read a ton of his work. I have like some of the Shadow magazine or the Spirit magazines, but I didn't know him too well, and so I just like dashed out the Spirit the other night.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Yeah, that's nice.
And I used my Scioli wild card, which is actually what I wanted to do for that day.
Have you read Matt Wagner's Spirit miniseries?
Ooh, I don't think I have.
It might even be a maxi. It's like a Dynamite 12-issue series. It's drawn really nicely by Dan Schade.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Is it and colored by Brennan?
I think so, yeah. And Eric Powell does variants. It's a powerhouse book. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, awesome. I found the Spirit Rocketeer crossover I was thinking about reading on Comixology on Limbs last night. And next week, Tanisha and I are going to San Francisco to celebrate her birthday with a socially distanced kind of event. I'm doing like a special gift for her. She'll never watch this podcast, so this won't give it away. But I
don't give it away, Grendheads.
I got a bunch of these.
I got her these Spawnback issues.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I got this.
Oh, the Viewmaster.
And I got these these view rolls from all these different places that we visited and places that we want to visit.
Oh, very nice.
So this year, so like I have these ones, and then also I found a place online that makes them of your own photos. Mm-hmm. And then so I made one of like, great Halloween costumes in the past. And then I made one of like different travels of us. So like all throughout the trip, I'm going to give these to her in different places.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
We wanted to do Alcatraz, but we couldn't. They're not doing tours. So then I found this like 1970s Alcatraz book.
Wow.
So yeah, it should be fun. She always goes all out for my birthday. So I got to do something real nice for her.
Sure.
And we also found a Prince themed Airbnb in San Francisco.
So. Oh, of course. That's wonderful. Ain't that the way?
Yeah. So
well, you really pulled out all this. You have planned on pulling out all the stops.
Absolutely. So what about you, dude? What you been doing?
I listened to a lot of Bruce Hornsby this week.
Nice. Me too, actually.
I got really into Bruce Hornsby.
Yeah.
And I drew and made comics and did a lot of daily posting, and our friends Rick and Craig have been like encouraging me to post more. I'm going to complain about my metrics, then you have to post, and I actually did see a little uptick, so that was interesting.
Nice.
Everything was good. I took a few lumps in stride this week, and it really reminded me that my worst day of making comics is better than any other day doing whatever. But I think it's a karmic retribution for referring to Bill Sienkiewicz as Mr. Lightbox in our group. So, you say that kind of stuff, it comes back to haunt you.
Yeah.
But it was a good week.
I mean, you're so busy too with your own projects that if you take a lump doing something for someone else, it's not that big a deal. You have enough things where you're the boss that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's you got to keep doing, keep making. And I've got like a bunch of projects, and I've got this adaptation project that I'm trying to play with, and I've got this one with my grandfather, and
exactly, man.
Oh man, there's so many comics. I'm just I want to be, I need to have the discipline to put in 15-hour days, and then I'll really be getting somewhere. I think I'm not there yet, but I do have the time, and I do have the work life career set up to be doing this for the time being all the time. So that's very nice. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting back behind the boards too, working on your Weapon Ech project to get my 2 pages done.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out of that, and it should be. There's a wide range of styles. I had someone message me the other day saying, "Oh, I'm seeing all these pages coming in, and they're really good, and I'm not sure if like I'm the right fit for the project, and I want to do these like weird parody pages." And I said, "You are perfect for this project, my friend."
Yeah, it seems like everyone's interpreting it kind of a different way. Like some are doing the like shitty Batman style, doing it however quick. And while other people, I mean, again, Christian Mizi is like so good. And he's like destroying these pages, and seemingly takes him no time. And I'm like,
yeah, he's such a beast.
God, he's so good.
And he's using that palette all over the place, and he changes it up. It's all in his style, and it's when he posted that stuff, I was like, this is exactly what I had hoped this would be, and I'm glad that it's in early so that we can point to it and be like, it can be whatever you want. It can be this,
from this to this.
Yeah, I think that a big part of the approach that I'm thinking about is really treating it like studies. And so, I would like to be able to get gestural and break things down into my own style. And then like right next to it, really try to get the BWS figure work and try to do it his way, to just kind of make it as unique as I can. I'll never be Barry Smith, but I can always be the next Ben Granoff.
Yeah, you're the Ben Granoff right now.
What a great
segue into
the intro. Let's do it.
VIVAT! Grendel! It's like the devil is my best friend. 100 rows with the pen to the fork end, or till time end. Like Orion, Jupiter, my kin, bloodline private. We control the whole shit. The wolf won't beef, then we feast off the rip. Behold the devil in detail. Behold the devil in detail.
Welcome back. Thank you for the theme song again, Manus and Laserdisc. Again, Manus is doing a new song every day this month on Spotify and Apple Music. So search Manus to check out some of those songs. I think he just did one called like I got a Pokemon bitch or something, right? I got a Pikachu bitch or something like that. He's got good songs. They're funny. So check him out.
He's an entertainer. Very cool. Yeah, Silverback is now done. That's right. I think we both liked it more than we had thought it was. It kind of gets downplayed, and it was
more than Matt, at least, for sure.
Yeah.
But especially this one that takes place kind of like in our time, in the time of Grendel that we've been reading, and fills in, as we were saying, a bunch of these holes that we were wondering about. Tells us a lot about the relationship between Stacy and Argent and why it meant so much. But we
Yeah.
start here in the NYPD.
Can we go back and praise the cover a little bit?
Let's praise the cover. The whole wraparound cover again is beautiful this week.
This is easily the best of the three covers by
Easily.
this painter, and it really captures that Dave McKean approach.
Right. With like again, this is a photo of a painting, a multimedia painting. Like we got this little King Kong, we got some photos here, we got a little switch, like super cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even a visual reference to Grendel on the back.
Right,
this
dude. Do you think this is like painted on wood? Like this is like a wood pattern?
It looks like wood panels that he assembled or maybe carved out those lines with a Dremel.
Yeah.
And then just layered all kinds of stuff on top of it. I like this piece of rawhide or whatever that's being stretched out by the twine.
Yeah.
This one really goes all out.
It's
Stacy's in there is a lot more so than the other covers, I think, from what I recall.
Yeah, I would agree. Because all the other covers, the back was kind of like a pattern. And this one
much
is
more
the full,
minimal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And this is like the full painting.
Yeah.
So cool.
This is very cool. We should look up this artist and see what else.
Well, it's got to be this John Peck, right?
Oh, is that? I thought John Peck was the letterer.
It says John Peck art. Like it doesn't say anywhere like cover by so and so, you know.
Oh, I thought that we had seen a credit elsewhere. Okay,
the
cool.
lettering is Paul Frick.
Paul Frick. Oh, I get so confused with these guys. Yeah, there's a moment. Yeah, great. Okay, wonderful cover, best of the bunch. I especially like the New York City subway anti-slip pattern over Argent's knee.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would love to see the original of that for sure. I'll have to look on comic art fans.
Yeah, you know who will have to get on here, and soon I would think is Chris Pitzer.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, Chris, come on the show many times. Tell us what we're missing and what it was like to be there,
and I mean, especially because there's this ad that me and him were talking about this week on the Kayfabe group for this Shepherd College Matt Wagner speaking appearance that he put on.
That Chris organized,
yeah. And there's a video on YouTube that I'll link in the comments and in the end screen. But it's so cool. For any Matt Wagner fan who hasn't watched that Shepherd College, it's beautiful.
Nice. Well, yeah, we'll have to have Chris on and
Absolutely.
Tell us what's what about this whole thing.
Yeah, we did a cool trade, me and Chris, this week. It's actually, he sent me a bunch of old fanzines and stuff. I'm pretty
very cool.
Yeah. And he's like, anything you want from Ad House? And I was like, canker stickers? And he's like, I think I have some of those left. Did you want a signed sheet? I was like, yeah, dude.
Nice.
He's awesome. I really like Chris a lot, man. Great contact.
Well done.
Open here on the NYPD. We meet a couple cops and they're talking about the legend of Argent.
Yeah, this is very Gotham Central for a page.
Yep. And also, first thing you see too is the narration. Argent always said no one knew him. So immediately we know that this is not narrated by Argent. And that's the first time for this series, right? Every other book was somewhat narrated.
Yeah, well, in the first one, he's delivering. It sounds like he's talking to Christine in the first one.
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember the second one, but we eventually meet the narrator of this issue.
That's
the thing. I wouldn't say the bone to pick, but the thing that kind of kept coming back to me as I read this one and reflected on the other two issues, that I think structurally, this series, like that's oh my God, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Structurally, this series could have been longer. It could have been done a little bit differently. We're all a lot more interested in 1980s New York Argent as it relates to the Grendel story. So as I was reading this story, I was like, man, it would be great if everything was flashbacks sewn into this.
Right.
Instead, the jumps in time, like it's a little strange. This series could be an 8-issue series like Behold the Devil, or it could be a handful or 1 or 2 anthology shorts. Get it, retool it, and reboot it in 16 pages, because this isn't getting reprinted. Like, no one's ever going to read this stuff again, it would seem.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is really the first time that we see Argent as the main, protagonist, and we see him in any other situations other than creeping out of shadows or fighting Grendel. Basically, this is the only time we see from his perspective, and this issue in particular is the only time we see his side of what's going on while Grendel is doing all this other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the cops, some of the cops believe, others don't.
Mm-hmm.
These cops kind of take on, they're almost placed here the way that Liz Sparks is in the Cliff Chang story, and Liz Sparks becomes like the protagonist of Behold the Devil. So these guys kind of also come into play later on. Anyway, we hear that as long as Argent is chopping up bad guys, the cops are fine, and so it really does have like a Gotham PD kind of dynamic.
Turn the other cheek to this vigilante who's what, ripping out people's jaws in this one. He's saying, like,
and then he stuffed the crack inside the guy's in the hole. It's this is in the maw. This is 80s New York, and it was a scary place with sleeveless punk rock drug dealing. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And graffiti and these punks. As we turn the next page, we see these punkers who are assaulting a woman she thought her money gave her everything she needed, but nope. And they're like, break her knees. And
oh god, yeah, it's pretty brutal. They've already raped her and beaten her several times, it says, but she won't give up the money. And so Argent comes in and very savagely dispatches these guys,
destroys them. One thing is, like, with Grendel, he lives in 2 worlds. He lives in his high society Hunter Rose life, and he lives the Grendel at night running around life. However, Argent only lives in the filth and despair. So, like, there's no respite from the, like, brutality in life.
I like that the guy who draws the gun and this other guy, they know Argent. It's not like, who are you? I'm Batman. It's like, oh Jesus, it's the Wolf.
Yeah, the Wolf.
He gets off 3 shots and doesn't work very well. The second to last panel is quite nice.
Oh yeah. And he's like running away. Run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Argent's just like, this is what happens. I'm cursed. I must kill. And then good.
The girl he leaves to die, he didn't care. She was evil too. Oh my god.
Chapter 3, the beast.
I just want to say, I want to be a jerk and point out that, forget it. It's great. Chapter 3, the beast. Tell me more.
Yes, a beast caged in the heart of a city. He lived in foulness in the worst parts of the city, in stinking dens he scooped out of rotted rooms long deserted. So this is setting up. This is the ad piece from the last couple issues. This was used
with a Bernie Moreau color treatment.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna say that Bernie has his moments in this issue, but I think the peaks all came in the second and in the first issue. But it seems like overall the art team here is maybe less enthused as they once were, which is too bad, because this is sort of the most interesting story of the 3 issues.
I like the assortment of stuff he's got here. Like, he definitely has a comic book, and like we can't necessarily tell what it is, but I'd like to think it's Grendel.
Yeah.
He's got a lamp. He's got a muffin tin. He's got some beers, a Coke bottle. Coke bottle is a very good tool, as shown to us by The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Yeah, it's funny that when this image was used for house ads in the last 2 issues, that it was just given this flat color, and here Bernie's got the purples and richer blues in there. And also the wall, there's a few times on this spread in particular where Bernie's coloring, I'm looking at of the cityscape and of that skull on the top of the second page, has almost like an Art Spiegelman cast to it.
Oh yeah.
If you go to the title page,
yeah,
there's a part where the wall is kind of falling off. And you can see the slats underneath and stuff like that. And anyway, all right, cool. So Argent moved out of the forests where he thought he was alone with the spirits, going insane over 150 years, and then he moved into the city, and it was like sort of horrible in its own way.
Yeah, and it was filled with noise and hatred and malice, and he responded in kind.
Yeah.
He definitely is a vigilante, but he has a completely different motivation than your Batman type of character, because he just kills. Like he'll find criminals, but then he'll just kill them. That's what he does. It's not like he's gonna
driven
tie him up and string him up to like a lamppost for the cops to find in the morning or something. He's just gonna slice them up for their crime.
This last panel on page 4 is probably one of my favorites in the books, mostly for the way that the guys shooting each other are treated.
Oh, okay.
In reds with yellows and stuff. It's very simple. I'm not crazy about the screen tone that's on the roof.
Right.
But like the way that these guys are painted and the way that the buildings are painted is really, really strong to me.
I agree. And it definitely shows like movement and uneven ground and this whole different thing. I like it. The windows kind of curve down.
Yeah. To me, that was like the Art Spiegelman kind of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of thing.
Because like that was not determined by the penciler. It looks like that was determined.
Yeah, it looks like that's Bernie.
Yeah, that's cool.
That Bernie went in a few times and just kind of like did it up. It looks like not everyone is super enthused,
like you said,
to be here in every panel. All right, cool.
Yeah, and page 5 kind of delivers this this thing of some of these characters that we've met and that we've killed, and that we saw these voices in his head in the previous issues. Now we see that they're all part of his thing. Like they're all in there. They always have been. They always will be, haunting him, mocking him, making sure that he knows that even in the midst of slaying, our voices are going to be there.
Yeah.
Like Billy Cloudleg, Maslin's in there. We got Charlie Mantooth, Jacques Onefoot, Eagle Scratch. Like just all the people from issues 1 and 2 are here, like mocking you.
Yeah, and to me, when I read this, it seemed like this should have been the framing device for the whole series.
Right.
Because this is what it's about, and instead it's sort of delivered as just like exposition.
In the last minute.
Yeah, this happened at the end of issue 2, and we presumed that this is what was going on, and now here it is, kind of just like this is what it is. The other thing that happens is that I think Billy Cloudleg or someone is speaking with like a French Canadian dialect.
Yeah.
And so there's a few panels where a few balloons where it's like you got to read it a few, dis and dens and those and all that.
Yeah. You are the cat's paw of Maslin, death's pawn. You will kill and kill and kill again. And so we see that not only is Argent tormented by the curse of being the now like harbor, the body for Maslin, but he could also be haunted by all the deaths. Like in saying this, he could have Hunter Rose in there at some point. Is that true? Yes, because not all these people are like.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because they're not all like spiritual people that are in here. Like it's not just his old mentor that was a shaman. It's just a trapper named Jacques Onefoot, your old rival Eagle Scratch. So like they're not all these spiritual people who were already in touch with their spirit and then they implanted it upon him. So like theoretically Hunter Rose could be up in there.
Yeah, that would actually be really interesting. Unfortunately, all this material has been sort of 86'd by various situations.
Yeah.
So and there's there's good ideas in here that resolve questions that we've had since we started reading this. Argent shows up. He's completely mysterious. We ask all these questions about where does he live, how does he liaise with the police, all that stuff. And it's touched in here, but it's not. It's kind of brushed over.
Right.
It all happens very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Panel 3, where she ain't here for ass when he's asking about Wind in the Leaves.
Right. Like, why are you all in here, but she is not?
This is a very rough face for Argent. The acting is just like, I can't not see a smile instead of a grimace.
It looks more like someone holding onto their headphones, like carefree in the wind, like in the back of a convertible or something like that.
Yeah. When I see this Argent, it's really hard to not like think about like his Jerry curls.
Yeah.
Like all the time, like that's like they're most of the time. That's sort of how it's got that hyper curly texture, which is kind of funny. Anyway, so they're laying the groundwork here that like death is all he's ever going to have, and the only way he can ever, isn't it like the only way that you can be with Wind in the Leaves is like you'll find her but you'll have to kill her, and
yeah,
it's just death madness thanks to Maslin.
Right. Go out in the world, dream picker, and kill and kill and kill again and kill more and then kill some more. Kill, kill, kill. And from rooftop, the man wolf leapt. And then he seemingly runs across his new like friend, his kind of like Larry type of deal for a second.
It's his Larry.
Yeah. And so he runs across this dude, Evan. And he kind of, seemingly randomly crashes into his house and it's just like, help me. And collapses on his floor.
It's very, as soon as you meet this Evan character, and you realize that he's the narrator, it just became so clear to me that like the structure of the way this story is told, like this character is way more interesting than any of the others in the first 2 issues, because he has, all these, he's the connection to New York City. He's the guy who he connects New York City to the Algonquin shamanistic tradition.
Agreed. Right. And because he says that he finds in him, he's like the last in the line of these shamans. So is that on the next page or is that a little bit farther down?
Well, Evan talks about, that's actually much further. Evan is a charlatan medicine man. Like he has some connection to it. He doesn't seemingly fully believe in it. The one job that he describes here, the way he met Argent, he was on his way home from doing a pet medium service for this woman who'd lost her Cocker Spaniel. And so she paid him $3,000 to channel the dog, and he just like ran around the room barking.
Right. Yeah. And so he uses these, like he does have actual talents that he can use, but he uses them to like swift and make money, swindle these people.
Yeah. And this is also the second gay coupling that we've seen in this series, which is, I don't know if it's purposeful. Matt's super progressive in that way and has been forever. I'm reminded of The Aerialist, which is about like, what if LeBron fought the system and was gay, except it's about like a futuristic like utopia where like instead of basketball, they play like, this game where they like hang from ropes from hot air balloons and it's like capture the flag like that. You've read The Aerialist, right?
I have, yeah.
Anyone else who hasn't is going to be completely confused.
Yeah, there's a lot of weed smoke too. They smoke.
Yeah, it's about like legal weed and like gay relationships are the norm and stuff like that. So anyway, so there's interesting parallels between Dogleg and Evan.
And in the time when this was written and when The Aerialist was written, those types of relationships were not as appreciated as they are in this day and age. And so they were used in a way to make this seem crazier and make this character seem more deviant or whatever, but that's obviously not how it is these days. But we interviewed Matt Manis and I for Can I Flip It and we talked about the Aerialist, and he said he was just looking to do everything that wasn't done in comics to make it as outrageous as possible. And so perhaps that's kind of what they're doing to manipulate our feelings about these different characters. And maybe that's another reason why it doesn't hold up as well, because it's not sensationalized anymore.
Yeah, well, it's not
just love,
deviant, but more marginalized, because there's a lot of homophobia that this guy faces. The other thing about Evan that was interesting is that his design is incredibly similar to Billy Cloudleg,
with the longer nose and the pointy
chin.
Oh, you're right.
So that was kind of strange and interesting.
Right. So he could totally be an Algonquin, descendant cut, with just a small percentage left of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the idea. Anyway, he was getting assaulted by these homophobes, and Argent just shows up, rips this guy's face off.
Oh my God, insane. Great colors by Bernie too, again. Probably.
Yeah. The Evan in the foreground in the grays of that last panel on 8 is really cool.
And then also else.
This one where Evan takes the punch to the gut, I think it's panel 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is really capturing the high points that Bernie was hitting last issue, where it was super, super moody, no local color. And in this issue, if you look at the one where Evan's with this guy, the blonde guy, the room is sort of painted in those pinks and purples. And then the characters are just well, he's in a red jacket, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Good job. And so then that was when they first met. Argent kind of just looked at him, and Evan kind of threw his card and a $50 bill into his hand. And then 3 weeks later, Argent crashes through, and Evan kind of becomes the night nurse for this guy. He kind of
I had the same thought.
Yeah. He's he takes care of him. He has training in healing, and so he sews him up. And
his training as a medic,
right,
which is just this guy has such a larger story. I just don't think 3 issues is enough to do justice to what this deserves.
To what this guy is,
yeah.
We turn the page here for 10 and 11, and we kind of get the lowdown on what their relationship's have been like. We get some really funny Argent, out of place in this domestic situation.
Yeah.
Slurping drinks out of cups, sleeping on a bed, have a nice little bath with a rubber ducky.
Yeah, what a weird bathtub. It's
it's made of wood.
I don't know what to say about that. Yeah, he has a rubber ducky. It just needs more. Anyway, so Argent still just eats raw meat like an animal.
Yeah, hacks up hairballs.
Yeah.
It's great. It humanizes Argent in a way we haven't really seen before, other than with Stacy.
Sure.
And then we get more of these adventures of what Evan is kind of wrapped up in. We see his super, not as nice as your super, as you've made us know, who won't fix the sink until Argent kind of comes in and becomes his domestic enforcer. Fix the damn sink.
Well, he tries to get a Hummer out of fixing the sink.
Oh yeah, the guy's unless you want to get tough, Sweetums. Oh no, what does he say? A little more goodwill.
Yeah, he wants a blowjob. And then our Argent shows up and scares him. And then
he's
I really like when the kind of cartoony, the guy's face in shadow, his mouth is all jagged and stuff like that.
Right, yeah, big old eyes.
That's a lot of fun.
And then the next sequence coming up in this book is wild. Okay, Bernie's colors here with the checkerboard behind this party, a nice nasty party, which looks like a sex and drug orgy.
Yeah, except for this one guy in the middle who's pulling a knife at the guy who's showing him his butt.
Yeah. Like, that's my wife.
That gag, I did not know. Yeah, and then the wife is like straight out of like Will Eisner, like
Yeah.
she's out of like a Dropsy Avenue Contract with God kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is nice. I felt that Bernie's checkerboard was must have been a pain in the neck. It looks like he kind of lost interest a few places, but this woman on the left who's arm wrestling, the shadow in her pants is quite good.
Oh man. Okay, and this leads to some very interesting work here. Next page.
Notice that Argent is sleeping on a raw mattress in this one panel. Just keep that in mind.
Yes. Next page, we get an ad spread. I do quickly want to shout out this Empire Lanes, because last week I talked about it. Show me the
ad. I didn't see it.
Last week we talked about it, and we also have a nice E-Man ad, which is a comic I got into super early because I had friends that called me E-Man as like a nickname. And so then when I found this in the long boxes at the old paperback exchange in Maryland, I picked one up.
That's anyway, Joe Stanton, right?
Joe Stanton, yep.
Right.
Now, Empire Lanes, I was kind of drunk the other night when I was like scanning stuff in, and so I posted it on the kayfabe group, and I was like, what is this even about? Is this like some sort of Arthurian bowling alley or something? And I was like, I thought it was hilarious because I was like, there's no way this is like that. And now I think his name's Dan Shaheen. He has his own YouTube show.
Yeah.
And he commented that, in fact, yes, it is about a time-traveling knight who comes to the future and like lives in a bowling alley or something like that. And the more he wrote about it, I was like, I need to fucking read this book. Like, this sounds crazy. So I'm on the search for Empire Lanes. If anyone's got one, you can send it to us.
Yeah, I'm sure it shouldn't be too tough to find.
Nah. All right, so next page, we are back in this wild thing. We're back. And I'm going to go ahead and read, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
And this is Evan talking here. I must have really been drunk. You awake? Got a proposition for you. Good, you're awake. See, Ken and Barbie here are two of my friends, two adventurous friends, and well, we thought we'd all have an adventure here, and not if you don't want to. I mean, we didn't mean to offend you. I'm not offended, but you seem to have the mistaken belief that I am capable of feeling something besides hatred and pain. Dang. Slams the door. Like, okay, so here is Evan trying to proposition Argent with his two friends for a foursome.
Yeah, I thought it was a very strong character moment here.
It absolutely
his last two panels are interesting. You didn't do Evan calls him RG.
Oh, RG. Oh yeah, I thought that was like R.
He looks super like monstrous in these panels. Yeah, he looks really great here with the broadness of his nose. Yeah. Really, just like in the shadows and the red eyes.
The deepness in his eyes. Yeah. Panel 2. Yeah.
Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Well done.
But anyway, but I want to note that he was on a raw mattress in the first panel, and then for the rest of the sequence, he's in a bed.
Yes. And like, it really shows that, like, well, no, okay, I see what you mean. It just shows like how far out of his normal situation he is with Evan. And while Evan is his link back to the Algonquin, like, he's so far into this New York City, like into the city world, that he's just like completely, he's like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
The boy could certainly take the edge off a party, but then later we see the voices coming back. The spirit of Wile E. Coyote comes in.
Yeah. You get some nice Bernie doodads.
Yep.
When he sits up in the bed. Very nice.
Wake up, dream picker. And yeah, so here he is like dreaming about these different characters in his mind again. And how like and it's kind of taunting him about wind and leaves. And like, this is how we were talking about earlier, like, how will it feel when you kill her? Will her blood well in your throat? Will she scream? And then here's the panel. After you kill her, then wait.
Yeah, that's where the French Canadian wording was like
Oh yeah.
super weird. It's you got to read it fast and not think too much about it.
Yeah. After you kill her, then he gets her first. You always take his leavings. Oh yeah.
Right. So I think what they're saying is that after you physically kill Wind in the Leaves, Maslin will get her soul, and then whatever is left, Maslin takes the good things out of. Maslin removes all the goodness out of your vigilantism, and you're left just to be haunted by the death that he's cursed you with.
Now, Stacy kind of has a few different like deaths, spiritual deaths, and each time that happens, it almost seems like a piece of her is gone.
Mhm.
Maslin is taking these pieces from Stacy, and at first it just makes her cold, and at first it just turns her against Argent and Hunter, but then slowly as Maslin takes more, then she becomes catatonic, and then she is in the asylums, and that is because Maslin is picking pieces away from her. This is just headcanon. That's interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Think.
Well, she, when she loses her innocence in a few different ways.
Yeah.
Right. First with the knowledge, and then with the rape. All right, we'll get there eventually. All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Argent is trying to sleep even though he's haunted, and from the other room he hears Evan talking to the cops.
Right. He's awakened by actual human words, and he's like, "This is official police business. Open the door." And he's like trying to say, "Come back in the morning." Like, and then they slam in, and then here's panel 5, another fairly rough face. But then they bust in panel 6, and they're like, "Are you up? Get up. This is Lieutenant Lorsky and Sergeant Walter Simonson." And he's like, "I see you. You are a raccoon, and he is a rabid fox." So, although he works with the police, he doesn't necessarily like them.
Yeah, isn't there something where they tell Evan that they have a file on him?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a file on you. We can make trouble. So, Evan's okay.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. How the police find Argent here is a whole other story.
Right. It's either someone from the party reported it, or I almost had I don't think.
I think they tracked him down somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
And I like where he basically tells them that he sees their spirit animals.
Oh yeah, like, that's what that is. Yeah,
that's how he sees them. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. And this is where they kind of fill him in, and this is where Argent first learns of Grendel. So here's our first big reveal, and how he learns that there's this like other, creature of the night out there.
So we're over halfway through this last issue, and suddenly it's becoming about the story that we know.
Exactly.
And everything, from Barry to Stacy to Grendel, like it's just gonna get. We're gonna barrel through it in the last little bit.
This I really like. We are at the staples right here, so it is halfway.
Oh yeah. I really enjoy panel 5. As soon as they say the word Grendel, he's haunted. The spirits say "kill, kill, kill, kill."
Right.
And it's
absolutely.
It's sort of the style. The inking style is stripped down. It reminds me of like Jill Thompson Vertigo book or so. I don't know what. Like something really cool for this one panel.
Even a little bit of the Hochi Anderson stuff that we saw in his short story.
Yeah.
Now to me, this panel is like the silent alarms, like Maslin's, overseeing eye. Like this is like the alarms going off in his head. Like this is the creature that we've been searching for all this time. This is the creature that everything that your whole life has been building towards. Like this, like the name echoes in the halls of everything. Maslin knows of Grendel. And here's my headcanon stuff again. Maslin knows of the spirit that inhabits. So like maybe like Grendel probably has voices in his head as well. And that spirit is known to Maslin. And this is just me continuing my head canon idea, but
the little devil in his head.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, Maslin's the spirit of death and Grendel is the spirit of aggression.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Anyway, so very quickly, They
also
let him know we've got a snitch and it's Barry, and
Palumbo.
Argent's gonna go talk to him. Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I got this. And that's where he picked. Yeah, see, dude, my issue is put together terribly. So the first page after the staples, it doesn't even stay open. There's a lot of there must have been some printing issues too back then. So the next day, Argent visited Palumbo, and then we kind of pick up. Actually, this is before the scenes that we have seen. This is their first meeting, and then also in this spread is Stacy's first meeting that we've posited about numerous times.
Yeah, and I think that they say that Barry says that the meeting there are a lot of changes in here between the sequencing that we've read before, but it sounds in here like there is.
Well, we haven't ever seen this scene before, though.
No, but the scenes that we know, like the sequencing that we know of.
Okay.
So there is a month between this moment and the double cross.
Okay.
Great. Okay. There's also a mention of Argent smells his soul. His smell sold of lying. He made his living on lies.
Yeah. Really interesting. And then we see the door open wide. And this is like a panel that you had mentioned in another thing where the door opened wide, and maybe that was issue 2 or 3 of the original Kamiko Grendel.
No, it was Phil Hester.
Oh, okay.
At the party. Yeah. So you can see here with the color, it works, suddenly it's a blue scene, the door opens and there's a yellow light cast on his back. I also thought it was, when I look at this Barry, it reminds me of a Todd McFarlane drawing with those vertical oval eyeglasses.
Oh yeah.
And look at Bernie in Barry's teeth. In
panel
3, in panel 2.
So that was probably again something left open by the penciler, and he filled it in. He does it with Stacy too in the next couple pages.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So then, we see little Miss Stacy Palumbo coming in. I'd like to read this too, because this is kind of, I had been wondering about their first meeting, because she loves animals. Like, was she scared at first? Was she happy at first? And here we see the child looked up at him and saw the massive fanged face, the twisted, hairy form that had sent men screaming in terror for 3 centuries. And Argent's kind of like, and she smiled. And my name is Stacy. Who are you? And this makes Barry very nervous. But the wolf was transfixed, for he saw mirrored in the child's tiny features the face of his beloved, lost for hundreds of years. She's like, can you pick me up? And then this is an interesting. The attraction between the two of them was strong and immediate. Mm-hmm. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean sexual attraction, but it just meant like 2 souls that found something in each other that is maybe timeless and undescribable for both of them.
I would describe the art here as really weird. Barry's nervous cartoony face is wonderful.
Right.
Like he's got the little pin drop eyes and beads of sweat going off his face, and it reads very well. And when Stacy's heart melts, that is the weirdest smile I've ever seen. It is like the acting is so bizarre.
In panel 3?
Yeah. It is so bizarre.
How bizarre. Well, and also
it's just like, this is like, it seems like these guys did not want to be here when they were drawing this book.
That the panel 4 with the pin drop eyes is almost like very Joe Matt. And then the bottom, Barry Palumbo, almost looks like a different person. He looks like
it almost has a proto Image Comics kind of cast to it, like a McFarlane Larson. I don't even know. Yeah. It's very strange. Yeah. But here we are getting all this info that we've wanted, and this is a 90-page story, and everything I want is crammed into the last 10 pages, it seems. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
With like a little bit of stuff that like helps tell you about like Argent's history and like, but
anyway, okay, so she calls him Uncle Argent. Has she ever done that before? She called him Mr. Argent.
Yeah.
This is Uncle Argent. Uncle Scrooge. All right.
There's
And then
another
this
ad
is
spread here. We get the Kamiko hype page again, but I don't really need to talk about it.
okay.
Yeah.
They're at the estate. This looks like, I'm gonna call it Westchester or Rockland County,
Uh-huh.
not New York City. Yeah,
Definitely not.
not New York City. Nice job on the trees, Bernie. Nice job on the grass.
Yeah,
Really nice.
very simple drawings, breezy, definitely showing that there's like a wistfulness, that it's not as like dark and precise as like these different times. Yeah. And you know, it shows how close she's becoming with Argent and how that's making Barry Palumbo even more upset.
Yeah, he throws her 20 feet in the air.
Yeah, so far.
I like her POV. There's little Bernieisms down there. She's looking straight down at him.
Yeah.
And then there's this low angle shot as she's like flying through the air. And then this Barry, I like this Barry panel a lot.
I do too. Yeah,
The
it's
shadow
great.
is very,
And
very
the red
cool.
eyes too. It
Yeah.
shows that seething anger. And of course, this is not making Evan happy. Evan's like,
Right.
dude.
Oh, but I just want to say that
Yeah.
she had a real friend, one whom she totally trusted, one whom she loved more than anyone. So Barry knows that he doesn't have, Barry wants her love in the subtext of this,
Right. And that's another thing that we never, ever saw in Barry. So like this shows that he did have, say, a good relationship with his brother or sister, Stacy's parents. He made a pledge to them that he wants to take care of them. He's trying to build this relationship with Stacy because he does feel a responsibility. And her finding love in this enemy of his that he's already double crossing, he's like, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
he's a piece of shit. So.
He does, yeah. And maybe he thought the only respite or retribution, no, the only positive thing in his life was this girl, and now again, it's all.
Well, they all feel this way.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
Stacy. Yeah, she didn't have any solid guys in her life.
Yeah,
any solid anyone. So then the next page, we are in to see Evan and Argent back to back, kind of disagreeing. Evan's like, dude, they're playing you. Like, this is not going to end up well for you. Evan's telling them like Palumbo was almost certainly in Grendel's pocket, and like that there is a double, triple cross going on. There's like,
and there's also a weird like reflection in their relationship, and not to spoil what we're going to get into in 5 minutes, but like Evan, well, it's not spoiled. Evan has feelings for Argent.
Yeah.
So it's their own relationship of, like, oh, you're friends with this little girl, this guy who wants you, who somehow will want you dead. You can just be safe over here. I can give you like more stability than you've known your entire life.
Yeah.
So,
and there's got to be like a sense of power that comes from knowing that this monster that everyone fears is like your buddy, and you know him well enough. It's like kind of being like a small person who is best friends with like a big muscular guy, and that
sure,
you can mouth off a little more to these people because this dude that's like everyone's afraid of is actually like your buddy and will take up for you. So there's this like certain dynamic and power that being friends with Argent gives to Evan.
Right.
All right, page 20, we see Argent in pain and anguish again, sleeping, trying to just get some rest, but again the voices in his head are loud and raucous. Yeah. You cannot save her, Dream Picker. You cannot save yourself.
Yeah, everyone does a really nice job on the artwork in this panel. The Argent feet are particularly lupine. Yeah. Bernie does a nice job with the light coming up from the top on the legs and shoulders and stuff.
Yep, a couple hidden skulls in the burniness of the top panel.
Oh no, that's John Peck.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, those are inked.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then this last sequence is just like, it's like very like Doctor Strange, heavy metal. Bernie Wrightson. This is pretty cool. Yeah. This is really nice stuff in this last if only the rest of the book looked this good.
Well, and you got to imagine too, if Argent's living with you, you're going to be kept up by screams in the night a lot.
Yeah.
Howls in the night even.
There's that crazy European thought balloon tale in the last panel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then I really enjoy just the panel design of the way these vertical curved gutter strokes come down, and then it bleeds into this green. It's just very different. Really interesting.
It really is. And again, it shows the frantic, wild craziness and how this event is different. And let's get into these bubbles a little bit. It's like, you will kill her as you have killed everyone near you, as you killed us. Like, they're tormenting him over the joy that he found in Stacy and the fact that he saw wind in the leaves. Like, they're not happy that he has found this smidgen of happiness. So they're tormenting his dreams at night.
Yeah. Part of the Maslin curse is that, whether you do the killing yourself or not, you're a magnet to aggression.
Right. And anything that brings you joy will soon come to pain, and it's going to be by your hands in some way or another.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then he screams, and and Evan just has to sit there and listen to the one he loves be in pain.
Yeah, he'll drink it away. So the next page, it seems as though the double cross has begun. Argent sets out in the night. Panel 2 is the Argent public enemy symbol.
Yeah.
He's getting shot at, and of course, Barry's got some people on the roof, and they're shooting at him. And then we see Evan come up from behind these snipers and blast a few of them with his 22. And they're like, well, a little present from Barry Palumbo, I imagine.
Then this other guy shows up. First of all, the guy who he shoots, just from page 21 to 22, it's just very weird, because suddenly there's this other guy who's got a machine gun.
Right. Saying we're all professionals. We've all got machine guns.
It's weird storytelling. All right. So then, Evan says Evan doesn't care if, they gun him down, because if he can defend the wolf that he loves, it will all be worth it.
Right.
And Argent hears as the 22 goes off, and the report of the Uzi or whatever it is.
Yeah, okay. Because the bang bang is the 22, and then the is the machine gun. Yeah. But that, whether Argent knows that is his boy or not getting shot up, it starts, the energy starts going up here. And then on the next page, the voices in his head and the fury and the killing fire begins to build, and the rest of this issue is just nonstop. He sees the cops, they're outside the Palumbo house. He hears the news that Barry Palumbo has been poisoned, but then all of a sudden, it says the wolf heard no more. Ignoring the triumphant screaming in his head, he raced to the rear of the estate, where he saw the lithe black figure leaping the fence into the moonlight. And this is where we finally see the face of Grendel.
Yeah, we catch up to Devil by the Deed. Mm-hmm. Oddly enough, I think because it's from Evan's point of view, we don't know about the other meeting that he has, the Phil Hester meeting.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, there's still a few things that he describes that it's
well, no, it says it sounds like Argent shows up. The cops are already there. Barry's already dead.
Yeah. And the shadow figure held a still small form, almost tenderly in his arms. And suddenly he realized how quiet the night was. All the voices in his head stopped as he sees Grendel, because he knew his future begins right there. And then on the final page, we see Evan pumped full of holes, bleeding out, and in the clear of the night, he knows that they left him for dead as long as I stopped fighting, but the wolf had survived. With his confrontation with Grendel, that confrontation anyway, was a standoff. And little Stacy lived long enough to mother a daughter and add a new generation to life's tragedy. Yet, yes, Argent and I both survived, but I never saw him again. Finney.
Great.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
enjoyed this ending very much.
I'm left mostly frustrated.
Mostly frustrated.
Mostly frustrated. Yeah. I just feel like
There's many things developed that we
there's
didn't
the
need.
last 10 pages is all the stuff that I care about, and it's just like they just bomb through it.
Right. And as you said before, like it should have been this issue was, like you said, the framing mechanism for all three issues. And so we see the start of this, and then we flash back to the main story in the first one, flash forward, and we see like the next step, issue 2. We're moving forward. We see, that's interesting.
So, I mean, I like the splash page a lot of Evan. I just think like Evan is clearly like this character who gives us so much insight and understanding into Argent. You know, the first time you read Devil by the Deed, you're like, what? There's a Batman werewolf in this story? Like, what the, like, what on earth? And then all the anthology shorts that we get, the black, white, and red, white, and black stories about Argent, none of them have any of this insight in them. You know, there's the Kelly Jones one where he like goes smoking water pipe with the wizard.
Yeah, it makes him flash back, and maybe
like it's like that could have been about Evan. You know, I would have rather have like learned more about this stuff that tells us about his history. You know,
really something that we need for the white, black, and red news stories that we're pitching. Definitely an Evan story, an Evan and Argent adventure. You know,
this is the key. The last 10 pages of this is Rosetta Stone information to this character.
For sure.
And for the life of me, I really don't I mean, it's not, it's a misfire, but I don't understand why this story is structured the way it is. Bernie Moreau does so much heavy lifting in this book. He's the star. But I'll tell you, I do want to read Epicurious and Journey after this. I am curious to see what Bill Loebs does when he can take his time.
It's beautiful. Those books are great. I might have something of that I can send to you, because there's like 2 minis and then there's like a trade, and I have the trade and the mini.
Okay.
You could rent them from my library and then send them back.
Oh, that'd be nice. Anyway, good job, Bernie Moreau. Oh, and then there's text from the novel. Let's say we can end. Good. I'll be able to end by saying something nice by talking about this super pulpy Matt Wagner prose that never came about. But it's really nice to get these insights into this, like, super fleshes out Devil by the Deed. Really cool.
Right, and this is the first meeting of Argent and Grendel, somewhat right after we see.
This is the after the rooftop battle.
Okay.
They're dying in this.
Oh yes,
mm-hmm.
That's right.
And for me, first of all, the writing is super cool and pulpy, but the insight that stuck with me the most. I mean, there's stuff at the end where they talk about how they're alike and stuff, but at the bottom of the first column, let's see, where is this? It mattered not at all. It mattered not at all how much they had to struggle. It mattered not at all how much pain they had to endure, just as nothing has ever really mattered at all. Just as the man had suspected, just as the wolf had feared. So beyond aggression, beyond curses of violence, beyond brilliance that needs a challenge, it's nihilism that rules, according to this text.
Yeah. We really need more information about this Grendel novel. And we reached out to Matt, and he kind of skirted the answer and sent us the insane pinup that he just posted on Facebook today. But we need to get more information about where the full text of this is, because it needs to see the light of day. or the dark of night.
You know, the thing about this Hunter Rose saga is that so much of it is shrouded in mystery.
Oh, and that maybe this one,
that maybe it was not keeping his cards close enough to the vest.
That's right. That's very possible. That it gave away too much, and he was like, I don't know if we really need.
He was being too explicit. But I do really enjoy Matt's like pulpy prose writing style. It definitely like fits into that like Philip Jose Farmer, Robert E. Howard kind of thing. I dig it.
I loved it.
Good. I'm glad I could say something nice.
Yeah, I really want more of the Evan character. I want like a buddy cop adventure with Evan and Argent. You know, having an adventure sometime or something like that could be interesting. Because him on the roof with the gun almost implies that from time to time he's kind of like what was the Punisher's like computer friend?
Microchip,
right? Something like that. You know, he's like in the van.
Yeah.
Or
that he's I don't know, a late 60s Vietnam vet, perhaps.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It says that, he says he had training as a medic.
Oh, that's right. You don't say medic unless you were in the military. So yeah.
I guess
he's got some military training.
Yeah. So it would be like a story where he discovers that like the shamanistic medicine is real. It's not, it goes deeper than just
right. That he was like
his trick.
Right. He was destined to be a medicine man, and he knew that part of his family history, and so he was like, yeah, sure, I can go into medicine. I've got a little bit of.
Well, it seems like he's already into it. He just doesn't have a full scope of knowledge. He's into it enough to use it to dupe people. Right.
So we can definitely say that I think the main character out of Silverback that we want to see more of, other than Argent, is definitely Evan.
Sure.
Issue 3, Silverback.
Cool.
Have a great week of Argent. VIVAT, Grendel, Ben. Another great week.
See you next week.